All right, we're gathered as friends today to talk about what we're doing as a church at the movie series. It's so much fun. We take what Hollywood is telling through their stories in theaters, and we're chopping that up to explain biblical truth. I'm here with Tim Rodriguez and Kim Rodriguez and Sabrina Martinez to talk about this upcoming week. We're going to look at the movie The Upside, and it's about two unlikely characters that are forced into relationship. A multimillionaire paraplegic named Philip who needs someone to intervene in his life to help him through his day-to-day, and Dell, who is on parole, trying to restore his family, who has to find a job to, keep his parole, what's required for that, what's required for his parole to stay intact. He has to find a job. So he connects with this guy, Philip, and Philip is just really socially caustic. Like in relationship, he wants to keep people away, he's aggressive, and he sees this opportunity, I think, to maybe make Dell a little bit miserable. And when Dell asks him if he could have a job and if he could just sign off to maintain his parole status, he more or less creates a situation where Dell, this guy on parole, becomes this guy's caretaker. He's gonna start taking care of this other guy. And so this unlikely duo begin to form a relationship and a bond through experience and through some really difficult conversations and some funny interactions. And so that's what we're talking about today, is what impact can relationships actually have on our life? And so have you guys ever experienced a time in your life where you were put in maybe a relationship that you didn't expect to turn into a relationship, that you started out as maybe frenemies or adversaries that developed into something more than that? Can you share from your own personal life?
Yes, definitely, definitely. I had an experience where I was with a coworker, and our ways were just so different, and we were both in leadership, and I had to genuinely just love and just not take in that personal issue, and I just looked behind it and I said, you know what, I just gotta love her. I gotta just be quiet. I just have to listen, and I have to just understand. And then you just have to pour into them the good stuff and the positive, and just wing out that negativity. And yes, it ended up being very the outcome ended up being very successful. We ended up having a close relationship.
I think most people can relate to having a coworker that's hard to deal with. So whenever you had those moments where your coworker was just really difficult, and you had different leadership styles, and it just, you get that moment where it just rubs you the wrong way. How'd you deal with that moment?
You just I had to identify that it was more of a personal, and her journey was different than mine.
Right on.
And being that her journey was different, well, I had a lot more compassion and a lot more understanding and patience. And I just, didn't try to be so, against her. I just had to love her and just kind of, just pour in the more love and different insight and different attitude and different influence in her life.
That's awesome. So after you guys kind of experienced this tension for a while, it developed into a beneficial relationship?
Yes, it ended up being a very close relationship, yes.
So are you guys still close today?
Yes, we are.
So wow, so through that process, you were able to develop a real friend.
A real friend.
Even though unlikely for y'all to ever have that friendship anywhere else.
Definitely.
Relationships are crazy like that. Tim, do you have an experience like that?
I do. I had a little friend at HISD when I worked there years ago, and he was a little person, maybe about that big.
Sure.
And I used to pick at him a lot because back in that day I wasn't real nice, So we ended up being real good friends because he was getting into church.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know that, and one day he brought the Bible, and he told me if I would listen to him read at lunch. And I said, yeah, man, read. So he was my helper. So he started reading to me, and we became good friends like that. And to this day, he's still my friend.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you were the one that was really hard to deal with.
Yes. It was opposite of what she said.
Wow. So through relationship, how did that guy help you with your day-to-day? Did he have influence over your life during that time?
He did. At that time, I probably had, I think I had 3 young children.
Wow.
And I was a hard father. And I was a hard guy in that day. So that little guy right there would always try to talk to me about God, and I didn't want to hear too much about that.
Sure.
But as the years went on, we ended up working together for like almost 10 years.
Wow.
And he ended up being my helper for, out of those 10, 4 years. So I always had to listen to him read the Bible and talk to me about God. And so he made me a better person.
That's incredible.
That is good.
That's incredible.
That's
That's
good.
just like the movie that we're using, where together, you and this helper, this guy, were able to experience life change because you guys were close together, at odds at times. You're making fun. He probably at what guys do on the job site,
Yeah.
give each other a hard time.
Yeah,
but
that was mean to him.
but then real life, real relationship begins to develop.
Yes.
And opportunities open for life
Yes,
change.
yes.
That's
He
what
started hanging
relationships.
with me. I took him to weddings. I took him to eat.
Wow.
I ended up liking him a lot because he put God back in there for me.
That's wild,
he
man.
did.
That's a really great relationship. Sabrina, have you ever been in one of those situations?
Yes, I have with an old coworker of mine. Differences were just from what they said, she said this, they said that. And back then I was a little rude. I had my differences, very bad differences. But after, man, she would just, we didn't connect. We didn't connect at all. We would just go at it through messaging all the time. Work came around, we just couldn't be around each other. We had struggles all the time at work, manager all the time in between us. And so until I started getting to my relationship with God and I started changing my heart. And so he gave me new perspectives. And after I left my work, I messaged her a year later, I messaged her and I apologized. I just I know, I'm sorry. We got to know each other and we realized that what everyone said wasn't true.
Yeah.
And what they said about me wasn't true. And we got to know each other. And she asked me now to this day, I just pray for her. She comes to me for prayer.
Wow.
She lives a different lifestyle than I do, but she still comes to me for prayer, for advice, for any life lessons. She's younger than me, but she looks up to me. And she even asked me for rides for her new job. And so now we talk here and there, but the relationship did get stronger after I changed my perspective and I was able to come across to what issues were going on.
Wow. You know what? That's so good, Sabrina, where life had tried to separate you guys.
Yeah.
Like there was another voice in your relationship, and it was the people around you that were
Yeah.
trying to keep you separate. But then through just time and just being around each other, difficulty, right? The drama, and then
Right.
Yeah.
now you're interwoven in that level of relationship, which kind of brings me to my next point. In our lives, we find ourselves in some really difficult places. Sometimes we're facing like an insurmountable mountain, to kind of use metaphor, where we feel like tackling this idea alone is going to take us over. It's going to be the hardest thing we've ever faced, or it's going to be a lonely journey filled with pain. Have you ever found yourself in a place where you really needed someone to help you get through a season? And you were alone. Did you ever find yourself, can you speak to that, maybe what you've experienced personally?
Well, I went through tragedy about 15 years ago when I lost the mom of my children, and I needed someone really bad.
Yeah.
And, everybody wasn't there for you. When it's your own world,
Right.
and when it's your own world, it's your own world. Everybody's life goes on. So, of course, at that time, I didn't turn to God because I was a little upset.
Yeah.
But there was always people there that cared. And the church was always there for me. The pastor of our church out there was there for me the whole time. So
Wow.
that helped me pull through.
Right on. So looking at your day-to-day life, did you ever feel like, this is too much for me to handle alone?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
And I wasn't turning to who I needed to turn to, of course.
Yeah.
So it was tough. I went through depression. And I've been there. I cried every day for over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there were always people there for me. It was my own decision to put myself where I couldn't talk to people or see people because I was lost.
So on the backside of that experience, did relationship with people play a part in helping you to regain your life and to pull out of that?
Of course it did, yes.
Yeah. What steps did you take? What steps did you personally take to engage in relationship?
I didn't. I really didn't. I was to myself. I didn't speak to people no more. It was a long time, Nick. It was almost 13 years where
Wow.
I consolidated my life to myself.
Yeah.
And when I wanted to be with my children, I was with my children. But it was, I don't know how to explain that, to be honest with you. It was a tough time for me.
Wow.
But it got better when I started looking up sometimes and remembering there was a God.
Yeah.
I would make it that way.
Right on. Right on. Man, that is such a powerful story and a testimony of the power of relationship. Things that you went through. Maybe you isolated a little bit yourself. But through time, you're finding healing, and you're still on this journey, not only in a relationship with God, but with the people that God values so much. And that's
Right.
what God puts
Right.
in our life in the middle of those trials. Have you ladies experienced something where you just really felt overwhelmed by life circumstances and you needed a friend and maybe someone wasn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I went through my divorce, it was total brokenness. It was like death, and it was very, very hard. You felt alone. You felt totally secluded away from the lifestyle that you were used to
Yeah.
when you were just, when you had a partner.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I had a family member that were really strong into the Word
Yeah.
and connected with the church.
Yeah.
And they were really there for me.
Oh,
They
wow.
were really there for me. They were there when I cried, they cried. When they were there, they just gave me words of wisdom. They always try to feed me the positive, good stuff, knowing that, I was never going to be alone.
Yeah.
And they're very powerful. That was very much life-changing impact meant for me having that relationship with them.
Yeah.
And them just sharing the love of God with me.
Absolutely.
And let them know that I wasn't the only one and I wasn't going to be the last one. And, I was never going to be by myself. God had a plan for me regardless of what was happening in this life. And they were totally right.
Yeah.
Totally right. So it was good. That was one of the hardest times of my life for me. And and then there's other trials and tribulations we go through.
Sure.
But
And
definitely.
revisiting these ideas, I can see visibly that it's emotional for you.
Definitely.
And you can still feel that.
Yes.
What did you take away from that experience? As far as you felt alone and excluded, if you were to face something difficult today, what did you take from that experience that you would use today that you didn't know then, maybe?
That I come to learn that in life we go through many, many trials.
Yeah.
And, we all face life no matter who we are, no matter what color, background we come from. That's just life. And going through that, we God's going to use that testimony
Sure.
as our superpower.
Sure.
And as we go through that, we then pour into other people that are going through those same trials.
Right on.
And let them know that, what? You might feel like it's the end of the world, but God can use what the enemy's trying to destroy and make it out for good. So it made me stronger.
So what
It
you
made me
see
stronger.
is maybe other people going through difficulty now, and you're
Yes.
able to intervene where maybe you felt like you didn't have that relationship to lean on.
Right.
Now you're aware of what others are experiencing. That's really
Exactly right.
beautiful. That's incredible.
Exactly right.
So in life, Sabrina, being 23, young, starting life, have you found yourself in a place where you just felt cut off from having that person to help you walk through maybe some difficulty that you're facing growing up in Pasadena?
Yes. I'm young, so and of course I haven't gone through a bunch of trials.
Yeah.
But I've had friends coming into my life. I didn't know what a friend was. I didn't know.
Right.
And so I would seclude myself. There was no one I can turn to. I went to depression, trials that were going on at home, financial situations. I cry all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And I would just be by myself because I felt like there's no one there. I can't go to nobody.
Yeah.
I can't open up to nobody because they've hurt me so much. Who can I trust? Who can I run to without somebody running to taking my information and running off?
Oh, yeah.
And from there, it's really heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Take your time.
From there, like God has just blessed me with people through those trials and situations that I've gone through. He has given me these people to trust.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I can trust. He's like, just go for it.
Yeah.
I have it. I have someone there for you.
Yeah.
Just go for it and grab it.
Wow.
And to see that I can run to somebody and I can cry with them and they give me advice, they give me wisdom, they understand what I'm going through.
Yeah.
They say that everything's okay and like pray and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing because I felt that I was doing it by myself. I had nobody. And getting more involved in my church, just people right there
Yeah.
that God has just blessed me with that I didn't clearly see. until he began to pour in those people into my lives.
Yeah.
And now I can run to them and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what's going on. And we pray together, we cry together. They
Yes.
just give you advice and like, hey, everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's
that's
gonna be okay.
beautiful that no matter
Yes.
the age, demographic, men or women, there's a commonality in needing to find an ability to trust, to step out. And I like what you said is that you just went for it.
Yeah.
You know, you knew what you had to lose by not trusting people. You felt the pain of loneliness and just being alone, missing relationship. But then you said, I'm just going to go for it. And I think if we spend a lot of time talking about this topic with a lot of people, your story's not uncommon. I know for years when I was younger, and even into my adult life, I felt secluded and cut off from people, and it was because I was unwilling to do what you said. Trust people. And just like during this message series at the movies, we're seeing that some people, that one being a parolee and the other one being a
Yes.
guy that's really aggressive and difficult to deal with, they may not be the most trustworthy guys, but over time, they realize that together, their lives are beginning to benefit each other.
Building trust.
Now you're building that trust. So what are some of the things that you're doing now in life that are benefiting you through relationship? What relationships are you connected to, or what steps are you taking to have the relationships to give you the life that you've always wanted?
Well, I can honestly say, having a relationship with the Lord,
Yeah.
God has just put things in my life that have been blessings. My husband, for one.
Freedom
Freedom.
weekend.
Yeah,
Yes,
freedom
freedom, yes.
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 It works.
Just becoming a part of a family, like we say, family by choice is amazing. You've come to have people that have wisdom and
What's
and the
family
fruit
by
of the
choice?
Spirit.
I don't think everyone knows what family by choice is. What's
Family by choice is where you feel the real unity, the real heart of God
Yeah.
within people in our church that go under the same teaching, the same wisdom, the same trials, the same tears in life together, that you just become like one. You have a heart
Y'all
that
love
has
us, we love
compassion.
y'all.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
we
family.
care. We care that when someone's going through something, we're there to hold you and say,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? We understand. We're there for each other.
So where did you find this level of family? Where did you come
CT
in?
Church.
Okay.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I didn't have it. I
Yeah.
promise you that.
Yes.
I did not have that love. I rode with a club, and it wasn't about love no more. It was about just getting through the day.
Yeah.
Every day. And
Yeah.
then when I started coming over here with my wife and her family, even then I was still kind of cold. I didn't really want to see everybody here. It's the same old story, most of the guys have. And, when I went to Freedom, okay?
Yeah.
You got to go to Freedom because that's what works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Freedom
Something
Weekend
there,
is
I don't know
incredible.
what to say, you just got to try it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just got to go for it,
You
right?
gotta go.
Because I didn't want to go. Trust me.
right.
But my heart knew I needed to go.
Yes.
And I did it. And I was very happy that I did it.
Well, I think even through this series at the movies, where we're just having fun, eating popcorn together in
Yes,
church, drinking sodas,
definitely.
just enjoying the truth in this film, it's really life is about relationships.
Yes.
That's where we're going to find freedom,
Yeah.
and that's where we're going to find
Jesus
healing.
said, yeah.
And you're right, that is what Jesus alluded to many times in
Yes.
Scripture, and
Yeah.
it's in real, authentic, genuine relationship
right.
that I think we can find the life that we're looking for. And
Yes.
so, guys, I can't thank you enough for being vulnerable and sharing your perspective and helping us unpack what we're doing this weekend with At the Movie series and this movie, The Upside. Guys, it's going to be
Yes.
so much fun. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Very
I know it's
excited.
going to be so good. Thank you
Good,
guys so
good.
much.
All right.